Hi, my name's Steve Wallace, working on EDL 856 Module 5, Understanding My Community. I'd like to first apologize for wearing this K-State polo. This is the night after K-State beat KU in a basketball game in Manhattan, and I unfortunately lost a bet with one of my students, so I had to wear K-State purple. Not my best color, so I apologize. So knowing customs and traditions of my community, the school is kind of the center of Gardner Edgerton High School, which is the high school I'm at. It's in a wealthy county in East Kansas, suburbs of Kansas City area. It's a 6A school, which is the largest school and largest set of schools in Kansas. We have about 1,700 students at the high school. And it's a very quickly growing, it's one of the top 5 growing cities in the state of Kansas. A few things that really stand out, sporting events, pep assemblies, the plays, anything that's going on in the school is a big deal because, again, it's the center of the community. One thing that we do that's really cool is a Veteran Day celebration. It's this pep assembly type schedule where the kids come in. There was a guest speaker, for current para that's former military, spoke, and we really did a great job of celebrating our military and our veterans that day. It was a really cool experience inviting the community in for that. The Johnson County Fair is also in Gardner. Of course, that brings in a lot of people each end of July, beginning of August. The Festival of Trails is a June kind of festival, food, crafts, music, all those types of things. It's called the Festival of Trails because Gardner was kind of the splitting point of Santa Fe, Oregon, California Trail, where they kind of all split off from each other. And then it's a growing community. In the last 20 years, it has grown significantly from the amount of people to businesses, but it's still a place that travels a lot to do things in the rest of Johnson County. Olathe, Overland Park, Shawnee, these other places have a lot more, I'll say, entertainment type things like going to the mall, movies. There's a lot more sights and sounds and things to do in the rest of Johnson County as Gardner continues to grow. Population. The actual population of the town is about 95% are high school grads. About a third of them have a bachelor's degree. Median age is 33. It's a young community. About a third of that is 0 to 19. Per capita income is $28,729, and household income is $71,000. Compared to the rest of Johnson County, that's a little lower. Johnson County is the wealthiest county in the state of Kansas, and Gardner, Edgerton area is lower on the socioeconomic status than the rest of Johnson County. 4.6 under the poverty line. We have about a third of students in the high school on free or reduced lunch. Overall in the district, there's about 28% on free and 40% on reduced. Occupations, there's a lot of blue-collar jobs. We actually have a brand new facility that is we call it our advanced tech facility, where kids learn how to build a car, everything about cars, to other aspects in that blue-collar industry. About 96% of students are English-only speaking households. The number 2, only 2% is Spanish, but that is growing. And we've actually had several different languages. I had a student this year from China and had 0 English background and was learning English on the fly. I tried to learn a little Mandarin Chinese from him. I did not do very well. Racial makeup of the city is 84% white, 7% Hispanic, 3% Black, 3% multi, 2 or more, and then 2% Asian. Communication channels, The school website, the city website, the Chamber of Commerce website, those are kind of the go-tos to find out what's going on in our area. Our school also does a student-led podcast with a lot of great information. Of course, you got to use social media these days, so Facebook and Twitter makes a lot of announcements, keeps up to date on what's going on in the schools, sports and different things in the classroom and things like that. We also use a app called the Remind app as a communication tool to let people know. Like, for instance, we have a snow day tomorrow. That went through the entire district. Teachers, students, parents were notified via the Remind app. And it's an app on your phone. It can also, I have it set up where it emails me and texts me. We have a Horizon magazine. That's a district-made magazine that promotes what's going on in our district on a quarterly basis. Every resident of Gardner and Edgerton get a copy of that, whether they have a student or not. We have 2 online newspapers in town, Gardner News and Gardner Edge. Honestly, don't know a lot about them. As the head boys basketball coach, I've never been interviewed by either one, but I do know that they support the town and get news out to people on an online basis. Blazer Broadcast Network is a few guys that love sports, and they've put together their own broadcast network, and as much as they can, they broadcast our sporting events, football, basketball, baseball, softball, all those things, and we really appreciate them doing that. And then, of course, your old school email, call, and text are other communication channels. Community groups, of course, within the school. Again, the school is the centerpiece of our community. Sports teams, band, orchestra, theater, different clubs, all those are different community groups. Youth sports is a big thing in town. A lot of people take a lot of pride in our youth sports. New Century is a CenturyLink is a communications, internet, TV, that type of thing. That's probably the largest business in the area. They have a lot of influence in town. There's a Facebook page that actually turns into a complaint about Gardner, especially what's going on in the schools page. So that's definitely a community group that has a lot of influence because of what is said on there. There's the businesses, the Chamber of Commerce. They're growing. They're trying to recruit more businesses into town, and we have great businesses that help supply food, money, their facilities, all sorts of different things. So again, they want to support the schools because it's really a centerpiece. And then you have your teacher group. That's important. That's a big group of people in the community. And then there's lots of other pockets of different businesses that have those community groups. Leadership, we have our school board, superintendent, business owners, Chamber of Commerce I've already mentioned, our city government, who again really emphasizes business and growing our community. And we're kind of the last part of Johnson County that's going to kind of blow up and explode as far as business and building homes and that sort of thing. And then you have our district level administrators, our school level administrators, our facilities people. All those people we hear from on a regular basis, kind of letting us know what's going on and how things need to be done. Characteristics of those community leaders. They care about our school and their students. Like I said, the businesses and the decisions that are made are based on what's best for our students and what's going to help our students learn and have great experiences. And then they want to see growth. Our school is growing rapidly. It was a 4A school with about 500 students 20 years ago. It's now 1,700 and expected to be over 2,000 by 2020 or there shortly after. So it's rapidly growing, and that's what this town wants to see. The economic conditions I've already mentioned, very growing community. There's new businesses coming in all the time. Amazon came in a few years ago, added 1,000 jobs. There's constantly new jobs coming in. A lot of blue-collar jobs, but the white-collar jobs are growing rapidly. Many people in this area, though, travel to work. They go to other parts of Johnson County or into Kansas City. The average travel time for people is 24 minutes. So it can be kind of a commuter town for a lot of different jobs. Political structure. A lot of our money for our school district comes from the state. Our state has obviously gone through some different budget ongoings, debates and different things like many other states. But that's where a majority of our budget comes from. Most of our spending comes from on teachers and instruction. Social tensions. There's a growing gay, lesbian, transsexual, bisexual population in our community. So we're learning a lot about that's a big thing that we're talking about, how to handle that with things like locker rooms and restrooms, and how to talk about it. Race is, I think almost anywhere that can be tension or a learning experience about, it's 86% white in our district, and the Hispanic and African American populations are growing. So we're learning how that's going to work. Socioeconomic status. There's a lot of different statuses in our area. You have very wealthy to very poor. So you have some sort of tensions there between those people. And again, Johnson County is a very wealthy county, and Gardner's a little different. And with that, and there's some inferiority disorder there, where we kind of feel like we're the stepchild of Johnson County, and we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses and the Smiths, and we can't quite do it. And that's definitely one part. That's definitely a tension in our town compared to the rest of the county. Extra sources of information: school website, city website, chamber website are great sources to find more out about our community. Power structures. Our superintendent is definitely very involved. Wants to know what's going on in the schools, wants to have a say, wants to be visible, wants to really have her fingers on a lot of different things to make sure she feels good about what's going on. And then you have district level administration that handles anything from human resources to curriculum to PD and all those sorts of things. And then you have your school administrators, who we obviously hear from the most about how they want us to teach and what we're doing well and what we can do better. And then you have your teachers, who obviously are in the classroom leading the students to high academic success. Multicultural issues. We're 86% white. So again, there's some there's some race issues that we're working through and learning how to handle, how to work with different races as a student population. Teachers, many of the teachers are white. There's not a lot of different races within the teachers either. So that's a part of the community that is learning from a multicultural standpoint. And then language, I kind of mentioned that. Spanish is definitely number 2. But as I've said, we've had many different languages come in. My Mandarin speaking a new student that I mentioned earlier, didn't have a lot of resources for them. And they really had to learn, our school as a whole, learn how to handle his situation, because he spoke no English, but he was a quick learner. He's a very impressive young man. The power structure: decisions are made by the superintendent and work their way down to us. School board serves as the checks and balances for the superintendent. And then our administration kind of lets us know what the word is from the top. Measuring public opinion. I already mentioned that Facebook page. They are pretty vocal on what they think about whatever might be going on in the schools. So definitely can hear what people are thinking there, and people comment back and forth, so you get a good idea of what the community is talking about. Phone calls. Parents aren't afraid to call in and voice their opinion. And then, of course, face-to-face meetings about different issues and things is still a way to go. And currently, we do not have a public opinion survey, although it would be interesting. Like I said, that Facebook page tells a lot. Thanks for listening. Hope you learned a little bit about my high school, and looking forward to looking at some of your others and seeing what type of schools you guys are in. Thanks.